Okay, I'm going to get started. It's noon. Thank you for coming. We're going to talk about fungus today. Fungus, molds, yeast, all those good fun things, and they're all kind of interesting. The definition of fungus, it's a member of a large group of eukaryotic organisms that includes microorganisms such as yeast, molds, rusts, as well as more familiar mushrooms. And they're classified in the kingdom fungi, which is separate from plants, animals, and protists. There are four basic kingdoms a lot of us know about, but there's the fifth is fungus. And the main thing that differentiates fungus from other types of cells, that they have cell walls, plus they contain chitin in their cell walls. And they also contain cellulose. So it's kind of unlike bacteria. The domain is eukaryotes, and the kingdom is fungi. These are examples of different fungus. This is fungus grown on bread. There's a white mold and there's also a black mold grown on it. And the black mold is aspergillosis. They're quite interesting. They, under a microscope, can become very small, and they have little spores and different types of fungus. And this even looks almost like a sperm, but this is a little piece of fungus with a hyphae. This is the chitin membrane. It has a beta-glycans part, manoproteins, a cell membrane, and the cell wall made of cellulose. And then it has membranes, proteins, and the chitin ends up being in here and acts as a protectant from other organisms getting into the fungus. So they're very resilient. This is a fungus with the little hyphae sticking out, and they stick out on all sides of the fungus. And these are the little hyphae, and they have the organelles, the Golgi bodies, the different ribosomes, the mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, all the different things our cells do. And they can actually stick these little things into other cells, and they can grow inside the cell just by sucking out the cytoplasm, or they can actually deposit DNA, their DNA in, and the fungus starts replicating and taking over the cells. This is an example of a black bracket fungus growing on a tree stump. And chaga, which is a very good herb made from fungus, is made from bracket fungus growing on aspen trees. And it's very powerful. It's a powerful black fungus that actually helps kill melanoma. So it's kind of a lot of funguses will kill other funguses. And some of the most powerful antifungals are from fungus. And so chaga is one that I use in a lot of people with melanoma now. And it's very abundant worldwide. They have a lot of, fungus is very important in the life cycle on the planet. They break down the dead matter, they get into things, make them age. If it weren't for fungus, we'd probably all live to be 1,000 years old. But fungus gets in our bodies and they start breaking down our body and causing us to age. Most skin aging is due to fungus. I'm going to talk a little bit about candida, because candida is a major problem in humans, especially if we eat too many sugars. And high fructose corn syrup candida really loves it, and it will grow quite quickly. So a lot of us humans are, eating a lot of high fructose corn syrup, and it's not good for our bodies because of fungus. And most of us have these in our body. but they aren't out of control because our immune system actually can block them and fight them and whatever. But they found that when you eat sugar, it suppresses your immune system and feeds the yeast. So it strengthens the yeast and weakens us. So sugars, especially the manufactured sugars, are extremely bad for our immune systems. And so to avoid growing candida, get rid of your sugar. This is candida growing in a culture. They can grow these things and, you know, study them. They've actually mutated. They're starting to genetically modify fungus. Now, it's interesting why they're doing it. Fungus is so resilient that it adapts quite quickly. And so whenever I put people on antifungals, I always change the antifungals before 42 days because that's the magic day. And you want to basically change your antifungal so it doesn't mutate, get used to the antifungal you're taking, and then it doesn't work anymore. Several reasons candida spread and become a problem: our diet with sugar, antibiotic use. I was talking to a lady yesterday whose child was on antibiotics on and off for the first 2 years of their life with ear infections and all kinds of things. And at the age of 6, she got a virus that caused Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and that burned out her thyroid at the age of 6. And basically the antibiotics made it so her immune system couldn't fight the virus, and we're having more and more cases of Hashimoto's because our immune systems aren't able to fight off these viruses because we've had so many antibiotics. The fungus has gotten in our system and we can't fight off basic viral things. Now, we have a lot of people who are immune compromised too. You have hepatitis A, B, or C, or the Delta, Gamma, and etc. They're finding all kinds of viruses, Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus. Cytomegalo is big in lymphoma and leukemia. And when they get candida in addition to this, the viruses can actually go into the candida, get DNA and RNA, and then come back out and infect your body even worse. So candida is a major problem for those reasons. Some of the first stages of the candida infection, this is generally all fungus. I'm finding not just candida, but aspergillosis, coccidiomycosis, which is valley fever. It's really big in the Southwest, especially down in the valley down in Phoenix. But they're finding more and more cases here in St. George. And some of these organisms, they get into your mouth and then, into your lungs and through your respiratory tract, and they get into your bloodstream and they're heading into the brain. I found people who have depression have a lot of fungus in their brain. Fungus pokes its little hyphae into every cell around them and can suppress the cells and suppress the brain and give you depression. And you can imagine how many people are on antidepressants, probably due to fungus. They can cause psychological problems. I've found that fungus can form a neural net in your body. If you look at a fungal cell, especially candida, it looks like a neuron because it's got the cell body and then these little things called hyphae, and our brain cells call them dendrites, and they communicate with each other. And so they can actually cause psychoses, neuroses, mostly suppression type diseases, just kind of make you lazy and they make you crave sugar. When the fungus wants to eat, it'll actually send out a message to your body, feed me, and you'll crave sugars. And so it's quite interesting. Other symptoms include thrush, sore throat, bloating, gas, diarrhea, earaches, sugar and alcohol cravings. People who crave alcohol may have a fungal problem because fungus does use alcohol. Migraines, anxiety, fatigue, vaginitis, brain fog, itching, acne, hyperactivity, sinus inflammation, irritability, dizziness, low sex drive, because fungus can get in and suppress the testes and the ovaries from producing the sexual hormones. Skin infections such as athlete's foot, chronic pain, muscle weakness, asthma. My son, when he was born, he had a couple of ear infections, and his mom was taking him to the medical doctor and getting him on antibiotics. He ended up having quite a bit of asthma. When I treated him and got rid of the fungus, his asthma went away. Chronic fatigue syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, PMS, anxiety, psoriasis, and arthritis. I believe a lot of psoriasis is due to a silver fungus called blastomycosis, and it's pretty tough to treat, but you can get rid of it. Oh, I can have a blank slide here. Okay, when it gets in the bloodstream, it can travel all around the body to all the organs, the brain, the reproductive system, the nervous system. I found that a lot of fatty livers, we're getting a lot of people who get this sludge and fat in their liver, and they'll have a lot of gallbladder symptoms because it becomes very difficult for this thick bile to move through the system. A lot of it's due to candida, and they will have a bigger liver than normal. Their bile won't flow good, and so it causes a lot of pain, and it causes the cholesterol to go up. And so once it gets in the liver, it can cause a lot of problems, and it makes you crave sugar, so it just propagates the problem. You see people with these big bellies nowadays. We didn't used to see them very much, but that is from candida and a fatty liver. And it can be treated, which is nice. Fungus tends to cause constipation, poor absorption of nutrients, because they eat all your nutrients and they don't pass them along. Lots and lots of gas, occasional diarrhea, mostly constipation, but occasionally you get a loose, real watery diarrhea. And it's caused by eating too much sugar and not enough fiber, which is the Great American Diet. 60 to 80% of the emergency room visits for abdominal pain are due to unknown or undiagnosable gas. You know, the doctors just shake your head and they're going, no, you just got a lot of gas and that's causing your pain. But what it's actually due to is fungus, and the medical doctors aren't really trained to know this is a problem, so they send you home with antacids and different things for the gas and tell you to go visit your doctor. And a lot of them pass it off as being psychology problems and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm not going to go into this, but fungus, well, I guess I'll go into it a little bit. Fungus can carry bad bacteria within themselves, and when they go to the bathroom, they pass this bad bacteria on, particularly Campylobacter, Salmonella, Shigella, and E. coli can live inside of fungus. So washing your food off is really important. Washing all those fungal, because fungus is in the air. And if your food sits out, fungus gets on it, starts growing, and it has bad bacteria in it, and it can cause some of these problems. Helicobacter pylori, one of those things, it's an atypical bacteria, but it travels in with fungus and can cause ulcers and all kinds of problems. If it gets in the bloodstream, it can cause what we call a vasculitis and an arteritis, and it can get in the blood vessels of the heart as well as the carotids and other places, you know, the kidney, blood vessels, and cause inflammation and problems. So this can also be inside of fungus. And viruses can get in with fungus also. Now, it's interesting, food mushrooms, such as, you know, the white mushrooms and, oh God, I had one last night, a big, what's the big ones?
Portobello.
Portobellos. Those actually have good bacteria on them, and they will reseed your stomach with some of the good bacteria. So I found even Vicky can eat portobellos, and she's had major food allergies, but she can eat portobello mushrooms, and they don't cause problems. In fact, they do help because they have good bacteria on them. So, how do we treat these different things? I found through the years that Systemics has a really good line of support herbs that help organs, that help rebuild stuff. And when fungus gets in, it starts degenerating the organs. It actually ages your organs. And so I found this #2 builder, which helps build the intestinal wall and helps rebuild the organs, plus the digest formula helps get the intestines going again. And using the #4 Fungus, it's the best antifungal I've ever found. And I was praying for a better antifungal, because way back when I was using nystatin and diflucan, all these pharmaceuticals, and I found they weren't really getting rid of anything. And I found they were just fungistatic, which means they didn't actually kill the fungus, they just slowed down its reproduction so they didn't progress so quickly. And it also, all the pharmaceuticals caused problems with the liver that were antifungals. So I was praying for a better antifungal, because I was like, I got to have something better to treat my patients with. And a massage therapist brought me a bottle of this #4 back in 1995. And it's still the best antifungal I've ever had. They used to charge it up at Systemics with energy to help kill the fungus, and they quit doing that about 6 years ago because it was another process. And so I charge all of the #4 up with antifungal energy here at the office with our homeopathic machine. It actually charges things up and helps them work better. So if you see these little signs up here saying charge, that's because we charge them up, and they actually work better. The Thyroid Chi is another product that I really like. Thyroid Chi means energy from God. Ra is God, Chi is energy, Tai means from God energy. And this is a product that we also use and charge up, especially against coccidiomycosis. We had a younger man come in that was like 34, and literally he was dying from this valley fever fungus. It was in his lungs, in his organs, and it was making him age very rapidly. He had very little energy, he was coughing all the time, and he ended up finding us, and we started him on the #4 and the Thyroid Chi, and then we'd switch to another antifungal, each month, so we didn't reach that 42 days. And within 3 months, he was doing a heck of a lot better, and the doctors at the hospital were wondering, oh, why aren't you dead, But it was because, we got him on the right stuff and the right energy to get rid of the fungus. And this Thyroid Chi is marvelous. It's one of the most powerful antifungals that we have, and it helps, in addition to the Fungus and the other really good antifungal I use a lot of, is from this company called Itovita. It's called Fungus, and it's the second best next to the #4. And actually, if we don't charge up the #4, this actually tests a little better. And by testing, I mean through kinesiology and muscle testing.
Do you have to do a fungus cleanse, or can you just take the Thyroid Chi? An energy from God, can you just take that, or do you have to do the fungus?
I love this stuff. And we actually charge it up with antifungals and different things. Like, these have been charged against the valley fever fungus, the coccidiomycosis. This one has been charged against Lyme's disease. So, and they carry the charge, like if you go to the airport and they put you through the radiation machines, they keep their charge. And that's why I use these products now, is because a lot of us travel and you need something that'll go through the machines. Yeah, you could take Thyroid Chi all the time. like I said, I wouldn't take it more than 30 days because you don't want things getting resistant. And so I'll give somebody the Tyrochi with this and then switch over to the number 4. You know, we go kind of around. Well, another really good product is the combination of this yeast cleanse from Solaray with oregano oil. And I use a lot of these oregano oils because oregano is a very good antifungal, plus it has antiviral qualities that are good. And oregano is just amazing. Vicky happens to be allergic to or reactive to oregano, which is sad. Anyway, the digestive enzymes are really good. They found different enzymes actually will help break down the cell wall or the cellulose of the fungus, but you got to get through that chitin also, the chitin. And so they've actually made this one called Enzy, which is this one that has the enzymes that break down the cell walls of the fungus. But they get pretty pricey because these enzymes are not just around, you have to separate them from other enzymes to make these products. So this product's like $48 for 60 capsules, but it for real resistant candida and blastomycosis and histoplasmosis and the aspergillosis, all these really bad fungus, this is a good one to take. So we do have an arsenal we can fight fungus with. Chlorella, believe it or not, is antifungal, the blue-green algae, and it's also antiviral. And so taking blue-green algae, chlorella, different green drinks, alkalinize, and fungus likes a little more acidic type environment. In fact, they produce acid. A lot of people have problems with acid. You probably got fungus. And acidity kills the body, so we dump a lot of our minerals in to alkalinize the blood, and then we have to dump them out through the kidneys to keep our pH right. Well, if you kill the fungus, it keeps you more alkaline, which is nice. Pancreas and liver support. The pancreas in Chinese medicine is part of the liver, and a lot of the different supports that we give for the pancreas also help the liver. So when I got pancreatitis, I actually had a stone that got lodged not in the gallbladder system, but in the duct where the pancreatic juices and the liver juices come together and blocked that, and it backed up into my pancreas and caused pancreatitis. Pancreatitis is a life or death situation, and I had the choice of either going to Hawaii and taking enzymes to break down that stone, or going to the hospital where they would do a Whipple procedure. A Whipple procedure is where they remove the pancreas and all the blood supply connecting to it. It includes part of the stomach and part of the small intestine. And I got really strong. I'd probably survive about 3 months. So guess what I chose to do? I chose to fly to Hawaii and eat fresh papaya and passion fruit and organic. And the Big Island is the only island that has all organic food still. And passed the stone, and my pancreas started repairing with the help of the enzymes. And I had to take a lot of this stuff to help rebuild my liver and pancreas because they sort of got destroyed in the process. And I'm at about 90% functioning of my pancreas currently, and I haven't had to go on insulin or anything, which has been nice. But let me tell you, I was dang close to having to go on insulin. That's probably why you think I'm losing so much weight, is I'm trying to keep my weight down by staying away from sugars. So, because that's really good for your pancreas and liver. And that's why you think I've lost so much weight. But I have lost weight. I'm down to about 180 pounds, which is good for my height. So, flax is very good for killing fungus. I eat a lot of cottage cheese with flax oil. It's a cancer treatment, but it's also a fungal treatment because it smothers the fungus and they can't live in flax oil. Pumpkin seed oil is another good one to kill fungus, especially if it's in the prostate or the ovaries. Ovarian cancer, I start people on pumpkin seed all the time. And men with prostate cancer, pumpkin seed oil. And C colon normalizes function of the colon, helps you go to the bathroom easier. All of the glandulars, fungus when it gets in the glands, it sets up shop, it gets in there and it sticks its little hyphae in all of the hormone producing cells of that gland. Like if you get it in your thyroid, you become hypothyroid. Get in your pituitary doesn't function as well. And if you get it in your testes, you don't produce testosterone and the other androgens. If you get it in your adrenal glands, you don't produce your adrenaline and your norepinephrine and your mineral corticoids. And if you get it in your thymus, it suppresses your immune system. And the fungus loves to get in the thymus because it wants to suppress your immune system so it doesn't have to fight to live. And so I found a lot of people with fungus, I have to treat all of the glands. Okay. Now combinations. I found a lot of good combinations are taking like the NZ with the number 4, the Tyrochi, and ABC means the Acidophilus, Bacillus, and coliforms. It's a great combination for getting rid of Candida and other types of fungus. Bioterrain detoxification using NZ, which is the enzymes that break them down, the Excel, the Cleanse, and the Chlorella. And then abnormal cellular activity, like if you've got cancer, it's good to treat with antivirals, antifungals, and the number 5 is another type of antiviral. OXCC is a cell cleanser. I use that a lot. It was actually developed for treatment of breast cancer, and it works good on prostate cancer and colon cancer. The NZ breaks down the cell walls. So cancer is a mixture of toxins, parasites, fungus, and virus. And so this is kind of treating a lot of those. Now fungus can hide inside of parasites.